In the sun-cracked cradle of ancient Syria, under a merciless sun, a god-king rode into the jaws of deception. This is the story of Ramesses II, Pharaoh of Egypt, and the Battle of Kadesh, one of the earliest and most epic military clashes in recorded history. The year is 1274 BC. Ramesses the Great, in his youthful prime, leads a massive Egyptian army north, determined to reclaim lost territories and restore the glory of his empire. His target is the strategic city of Kadesh, a prize long coveted by the rival Hittite Empire. His scouts have told him the Hittite king, Muwatalli II, is far away, cowering in fear. But this intelligence is a lie, a carefully crafted deception that will lead the pharaoh to the very brink of annihilation. As the Egyptian forces advance, they are divided into 4 divisions, named after the gods Ammonius, Ra, Ta, and Set. Ramesses, leading the Ammonius division, pushes ahead with youthful confidence, eager to reach Kadesh first. The other divisions trail behind, separated by miles of unforgiving terrain. This separation is the fatal flaw in his plan. Near Kadesh, his soldiers capture 2 local Bedouins who confirmed the previous reports. The Hittites are nowhere to be seen. Elated, Ramesses sets up his camp just northwest of the city, his personal guard around him, the bulk of his army still marching hours behind. He is exposed, vulnerable, and completely unaware of the trap that is about to spring. The reality is far more terrifying. The Hittite king Muwatalli II has assembled a colossal army, one of the largest ever seen, hiding it skillfully behind the city of Kadesh. His force includes thousands of heavy, 3-man chariots, a technological marvel of the age, far superior to the lighter 2-man chariots of the Egyptians. The Bedouins were spies, and their lies have worked perfectly. As Ramesses settles into his camp, his world is about to be turned upside down. The Hittites have been waiting, and now, they strike. The attack is a storm of thunderous hooves and bronze-tipped spears. 2,500 Hittite chariots smash into the unprepared Ra division as it marches towards Ramesses' camp. The division disintegrates almost instantly. Panic spreads like wildfire. Survivors flee in terror towards the pharaoh's position, screaming of the overwhelming assault. The Hittite chariots, a wave of destruction, are right behind them. They crash into Ramesses' camp, sowing chaos and death. The pharaoh is surrounded, cut off from the rest of his army, his elite guards fighting a desperate battle against impossible odds. Annihilation seems certain. In this moment of ultimate crisis, trapped in facing certain defeat, Ramesses performs an act that will become the cornerstone of his legend. He later claims he prayed to the god Ammonius, who answered his call. Alone, or so the story goes, he mounts his chariot and charges headfirst into the enemy ranks. He is depicted on temple walls as a solitary hero, a living god of war, scattering the Hittite chariots before him like dust. He claims to have single-handedly pushed back the enemy 6 times, his divine power turning the tide of battle. The propaganda is powerful, painting a picture of a god-king whose valor alone could defeat an entire army. But what really happened in the swirling dust and chaos of the battle? Was it truly divine intervention? The truth is likely more strategic, and perhaps a bit more lucky. The Hittite charioteers, believing victory was theirs, stopped to plunder the rich Egyptian camp. This greed and indiscipline broke their momentum and gave Ramesses a crucial window of opportunity. At this exact moment, a separate Egyptian force, a group of reinforcements known as the Nagaran, arrived unexpectedly from the coast. They slammed into the flank of the distracted Hittite chariots, catching them completely by surprise. This arrival turned the tide. Caught between Ramesses' desperate counterattack and the fresh Nagaran troops, the Hittite chariots were thrown into confusion. Their attack faltered and then broke. The Egyptians managed to regroup as the remaining divisions, Ta and Set, finally arrived on the battlefield. The Hittites were pushed back across the Orontes River, suffering heavy losses in the retreat. Ramesses had been saved from the brink of disaster. But the battle was far from a clear victory. By the end of the day, the fields around Kadesh were littered with the bodies of thousands of soldiers and the wreckage of countless chariots. Both armies were exhausted and battered. Ramesses had survived the ambush and held the field, but he had failed to capture the city of Kadesh. Muwatalli had failed to destroy the Egyptian army, but he had successfully defended his territory. The battle was a bloody stalemate. Neither side could claim a decisive victory. The cost in human life was immense, a heavy price for a clash of imperial ambitions. In the aftermath, Ramesses returned to Egypt and launched one of the most successful propaganda campaigns in history. On the walls of his great temples at Karnak, Luxor, and Abu Simbel, he had his artists carve magnificent reliefs and inscriptions telling his version of the story. These carvings depict him as the sole hero, a divine warrior who single-handedly defeated the entire Hittite host. There is little mention of the disastrous ambush, the near-total destruction of the RA division, or the crucial arrival of the Nanaran reinforcements. He spun a tale of glorious, divine triumph from the ashes of a near-catastrophic failure. For years, this was the only account of the battle the world knew. It seemed to be a clear, overwhelming Egyptian victory. But then, in the early 20th century, archaeologists excavating in modern-day Turkey uncovered the Hittite royal archives. Among the thousands of clay tablets, they found the Hittite version of the Battle of Kadesh. This account told a very different story, one of a successful ambush that crippled the Egyptian army and checked the pharaoh's ambitions. The truth, as is often the case, lay somewhere in between these two conflicting narratives. The bloody stalemate at Kadesh had a profound and lasting impact. Both empires realized that neither could decisively defeat the other. Years of continued skirmishing and a shifting balance of power eventually led to a revolutionary development. In 1259 BC, about 15 years after the battle, Ramesses II and the new Hittite king, Hattusili III, did something unprecedented. They negotiated and signed a peace treaty. This document, of which copies survive from both Egypt and the Hittite Empire, is the world's first known international peace treaty. It established a pact of non-aggression, a defensive alliance, and agreements on the extradition of political refugees. This treaty ushered in an era of peace and stability between the two great powers. Ramesses even went on to marry a Hittite princess to seal the alliance. The pharaoh who had nearly lost his life and his kingdom in a brutal ambush became the pharaoh who forged an enduring peace. The Battle of Kadesh, a story of deception, desperation, and propaganda, ultimately led to a landmark achievement in diplomacy that changed the course of ancient history. It stands as a powerful reminder that even from the bloodiest of conflicts, the seeds of peace can grow. What began with the thunder of chariots ended with the quiet scratching of a scribe's reed pen, forging a future not of war, but of cooperation. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into ancient history fascinating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more stories from our incredible past. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Ramesses a brilliant hero, or just a very lucky propagandist? See you next time.